Okay, great. So welcome everybody to this fourth webinar about the 2024 Globe International Virtual Science Symposium, or the IVSS. Today's webinar is all about how to upload your project, how to make sure that that is successful, and it's also an opportunity for you to ask any questions you may have at this stage. And today's webinar is presented by Alison Moat, who is an education specialist in the Globe Implementation Office. She's based in Austin, in Texas, in the United States. And I'm really looking forward to this webinar. Over to you, Alison.
Excellent. Thank you, Simon, and welcome everybody. It's really exciting to see everyone here. We are going to talk about the report submission process for this year's International Virtual Science Symposium, or IVSS. And this slide shows the theme of this year's IVSS, which is Climate Investigations, Understanding Earth as a System. We're really excited to see the students work on this topic. And as an overview of
Alison, can I just, yes, that's right. Perfect. Just the size is now
great. Sorry, it was a little zoomed in there. So just to review the timeline for this year's IVSS, and I also want to point out that these slides will be posted on the IVSS website along with the recording of this webinar. So no need to, take screenshots or write down detailed notes. You'll have access to these slides after this webinar. But if you are just joining us in our webinar series, we've had a few different webinars so far. So those are listed here, and you'll be able to link to the recordings of each webinar from the slides on the website. But we've had a general informational webinar to kind of point out the timeline and just sort of general process for the IVSS. We've also had a webinar to talk through the resources related to this year's theme. So the Climate Resources webinar talks through different GLOBE protocols that could be used for research projects. Really excellent information there. If you missed it, it is on our website. And then our most recent webinar was on badges. So we talked through the different badges that students can apply for as they work on their research projects. And we highlighted the new badge for this year, which is the I Am a Problem Solver badge. And then we are currently accepting research reports through the 6th of March. So we are going to walk through that process in just a moment. And we are also currently recruiting judges. So for all of you teachers or scientists out there, if you're interested in judging IVSS projects, we encourage you to fill out our volunteer form, which is linked to the IVSS webpage, and I will share that in just a moment. But we'll be recruiting judges through February. In this webinar today, we'll talk about submitting student projects and project resources. Our next webinar after this will be a judging webinar for everybody who has volunteered to be a judge. That will happen on the 20th of March. And then the judging period will open. So the judging period is from the 20th of March to the 3rd of April. And students will receive feedback on Earth Day, which is April 22nd. Just an overview of the project requirements. We'll talk through these in a little bit more detail in just a moment. But in order for projects to be considered in the judging process, they must first, most importantly, include GLOBE data. And then beyond that, the projects must include a title, an abstract or summary of the research that was conducted, along with a written research report. And within that research report is an explanation for each badge and a presentation and photo release forms. So we'll talk through each one of these as we walk through the upload process. And so here we're going to talk through how to submit your 2024 IVSS project. I have a screenshot of the IVSS website here, and you can use the QR code on the left side of the screen to open the IVSS page on your own device if you would like to walk through this process with us. But you'll start when you're ready to upload a research report. You'll go to our webpage and you'll click on that blue button that says upload a research report. And I'm going to walk you through the different fields that you'll see when you click on that button. So the first thing you'll see is a pop-up window that you'll enter all of the information about your report. If you access the IVSS report tool from the website that I just showed, the IVSS report will already be clicked, but you'll want to just make sure that you have clicked on that little box. And then you'll enter your teacher information. So teachers, you'll likely be submitting these reports for your students. If you are logged in to the globe.gov website, you'll see your school or organization in this little drop-down field. And then you'll want to add your name and email address for all teachers involved in this project, in the project that you're submitting. If you worked with other schools or educators from different areas, you can add them by clicking on the little plus button in the bottom right corner underneath your information. The next thing you'll do is include the names of all students who contributed to the project. So you'll want to list each student individually in the students box, and then the total number of students who worked on the project here. After that, if your students collaborated with any scientists or professionals in the Globe International STEM Network, you'll want to add the names and organizations or titles of those people in the additional contributors box. So this is a great place to showcase people that you collaborated with on your project. And then you'll want to indicate the grade level of the students who worked on this research report. So we've got in the grade level dropdown, you'll see age ranges along with grade levels. Next, you'll enter the details about your report. So the report title comes first, and that's a required field. And then the report description. So anything you see with a yellow star is a required field. So for the report description, you'll want to just provide an overview of what your report is about in 500 characters or less. And then you'll also include an abstract or summary for your report. This can come directly from your research report itself. So you can copy and paste that into the abstract and summary section. And then your report date. So this is the date that you completed your research report. The next thing we mentioned that GLOBE protocols are a really important part of your research report. So here you'll want to select all the GLOBE protocols that you used in conducting your research. So when you click on these little plus signs on the right side for each protocol area, you'll see a list of the specific protocols for each of the Earth's spheres. So you'll want to select every protocol that your students used or you used as you conducted your research. And then you'll want to upload your research report. So this is your written report, which can be in a PDF file, a Word document, or a text file. So when you click select, this blue button, it will allow you to find your research report on your computer or your device. And then you'll also want to include a thumbnail image that will be displayed alongside your report on the globe.gov site. This can be a JPEG or a PNG image, and examples of images that people have included are group photos of all of the student researchers, or maybe students conducting their research. We recommend including an image that might have some vibrant colors or draws people's attention to your report when it's displayed on our website. If you don't include a thumbnail image, the globe logo will be displayed next to your report. Next, you'll want to indicate what language your report was written in. At least one language must be selected. And if your report is in multiple languages, you can select all languages that apply here. And then the presentation field is next. So you'll notice that there are multiple forms of presentations that you could include. You only need to include either a video or a poster presentation. Some students like to include both, but you do not, that's not required. So if the presentation is a YouTube video or a Vimeo video, you can include the URL here. ArcGIS story maps are another great way to display your work. So you can also provide a link to an ArcGIS story map or a poster presentation. So the poster presentation is a file upload. So you'll select the blue button and upload a PDF or PowerPoint of the poster. And we do have some resources for the presentations that we'll show you in just a minute. And then really important here are the media release forms. We need a media release form for anyone whose image is displayed in the report. That includes any videos or the thumbnail images. We need a signed media release form for students under the age of 18. We need a parent's signature on those media release forms. And you can access those media release forms through this link here. The blank release form is hyperlinked. We also have that linked to our IVSS report requirement page. And then finally, when you make it to the end of the upload submission, you'll select the badges that students are hoping to earn as part of their research report. So all students will earn the student research badge as part of completing the research project. But in addition to that, they can select up to 3 additional badges that are shown here. So a reminder that at least 2 badges, if for students who are interested in having their projects entered into the stipend drawing, students will need to select at least 2 additional badges, but can select up to 3 badges. And then the last question here is just a reflection question that is optional. So if your research incorporates local knowledge systems, for example, Indigenous knowledge, you can reflect on that here just to let us know how your work and how your research incorporates those local knowledge systems. So when you are ready, after you've filled out all of these fields, you can click on the blue Submit Report button at the top. That will then open another pop-up window that will tell you that your report has been submitted. You should also get a confirmation email letting you know that your report was submitted. So you'll want to make sure that you receive that to ensure that your report has gone through. After you submit your report, you might realize that you forgot to include something or need to edit some aspect of your report. You have a few days to go in and edit your report after you submit it, and you can do that through the Edit My Reports link that is underneath the Upload a Research Report button. So for example, if you realize you need to change something in your written report, you can re-upload a new file through the Edit My Reports link. You can change links to videos, anything about your report submission, you can edit, but the time is limited. If you realize you need to make a change to report and no longer have access to this Edit My Reports link, you can email the IVSS team. I will show you our email address at the end of this presentation. So you feel free to reach out to us and we can make any needed changes to your report. All right, so I'm going to walk through just some additional project resources that we have linked to the IVSS webpage. For those of you who might be just getting started with your research or potentially working on your presentation, we have a wealth of resources. linked here in the left navigation of the IVSS site. So the first thing I'll just showcase is the details about our report requirements. So under the report requirements tab on the left, we've got some additional details for you. The written report criteria, which I mentioned at the beginning, must include a title and abstract. And then this does vary by grade level, but for the upper grade levels, the written report must include the 5 sections that are shown here, as well as citations. And then we've got the badge descriptions are a requirement of the report, our presentation options that we mentioned, a thumbnail image, and the photo release forms. So links to all of these requirements can be found from the report requirements section. The next resource we have for you is some more detailed descriptions of our badges. So as I mentioned, all students who submit a research report that is judged will receive the I Am a Student Researcher badge. In addition to that, we have 7 other badges that students may elect to receive. The badge for this year, the new badge for this year is the I Am a Problem Solver badge. So this one really is a great way to showcase how students are applying what they've learned from their research to helping their local community or creating action in their local community. So as we mentioned, students can earn up to 3 additional badges, and the report should describe how each badge was earned. So we encourage you to read through our badges as you work through your report and write your report. Another really helpful resource as you are writing and conducting research for your report is the How Projects Are Judged page. This page includes rubrics by grade level and age. So here you can see the requirements for different grade levels and the details on what each project element should include. So here I have an example of a rubric for the upper grade levels. So all projects will receive a rating of 1 to 4 stars. And I'll just point out that a 3-star project is a really good project. The report contains all of the elements and meets most of the criteria, but some elements are unclear or missing. To really push your report to an exceptional level, you'll see that the report needs to be well organized. It needs to be neat and well presented. And really, I'll point out this last bullet point here. Excellent reports really demonstrate the ability of the student researchers to draw insightful conclusions. So that might be, how you'll take action in your local community, or things that you could further research as a result of what you learned in your research project. And I also want to point out the wealth of resources that we have on the student resources page. And so wherever you are in your research project, there are probably resources here that could help you. So starting with creating a research project, if you haven't started your research, that's okay. There's still time. There are some resources here that can help you get started, including the steps of the scientific process, a sample research report, how to get started with research and things like that. And then we also have research report templates by grade level. This is really helpful for seeing kind of the expectations of how a research report could be formatted to help you as you get started. We also have resources on preparing a presentation. So if you're already conducting your research and you want some inspiration for things to include in your presentation, we've got PowerPoint templates and PDF templates for posters. We also have some examples of really creative, in different ways to display your research. And then here too, we've got some information on ArcGIS story maps. So if you're not familiar with ArcGIS story maps, it's a free tool that you can use as a sort of digital storytelling method. really, really neat ways to incorporate maps, GIS-based maps into your project. And then we have some other links there to help you kind of think through how to visually present your research. And then the last thing I'll point out in the student resources section are some archived webinars. And these webinars we have in multiple languages from previous years, from an overview of different protocol bundles and how to make connections between different parts of the Earth system, a webinar on how to create an effective scientific poster, or if you're just getting started, how to develop a good research question or conduct a literature review. So all kinds of great resources here. I also want to point out under the archived section, if you are interested in exploring how to incorporate ArcGIS and story maps, there's a archived webinar on mapping your globe data with ArcGIS. So lots of really great resources here. And finally, I'll just leave you with some important reminders. So please make sure you include those photo release forms and get parent signatures on forms for students under the age of 18. Our project submission deadline is March 6th. And then we will have our stipend drawing in April. And just a review of what is required to be entered into the stipend drawing. Students must receive a 4-star rubric rating on your project and earn at least 2 optional badges to be qualified for that drawing. The stipend recipients will be invited to the 2024 Globe Annual Meeting Student Experience, which will take place in July in Fredonia, New York, which will be a very exciting opportunity for students from around the world to come together and engage in scientific exploration with other students. And the stipend for those who receive the stipend can be used towards attending the annual meeting in July. And I also just want to highlight last year's stipend recipients. You can review these projects for inspiration and all the IVSS projects from previous years from our website. There's some really great work here. But one project from each region will receive a stipend, and 2 from North America. So we encourage you to explore past years' IVSS projects and reports from our website. Tremendous work from students around the world. And then lastly, I'll leave you with our timeline again. From here, after this webinar, we've got our judging webinar, reports still being accepted through March 6th, and judge recruitment happening. And if you have any questions, we'll open the floor for questions in just a minute, but please feel free to email us at the globeivss@ucar.edu email address. We've got a QR code so you can access the IVSS webpage, and we've got the full link here on this slide. So please visit the site for all kinds of great info. And if you have any questions that you can't find the answers to on our website, please feel free to reach out. And with that, I will again thank you for joining us today, and we'll open the floor for any questions that anybody has. And Simon, I know you've been monitoring the chat. If there's anything that has come up there, we can talk through those.
Great. Thank you so much, Alison. That was really helpful, very helpful for me, and I'm sure helpful for many of you around the world as you get to this last stage of the IVSS process, which is about actually uploading your reports. And we really, really look forward to that. We've had a couple of questions. Alison, do you want to just stop the screen share and then we can just see people's faces? There we go. So a couple of questions have come in. I've tried to answer them as we've been going. One question was about how many badges can you apply for? And I love that enthusiasm. The answer is 3. So up to 3, a minimum of 2 additional badges. So everybody gets the I Am a Student Researcher badge if they fulfill all the requirements. And then you can apply for up to 3 additional badges. Secondly, there was a question, will the submission form time out or save as we go? Alison.
Yeah, that is a great question. To be safe, I would recommend trying to submit your form within one setting because the site will likely time out if you leave it open for too long. So I would wait to submit or to enter all of your information until you're ready to click the submit form or the submit button.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So then the last question was, are photo release forms required if you cannot see their faces? Alison.
That is a great question. I think that we encourage photo release form for all students, but if their images, I know that not all students want their images to appear in a public space or on their report. So if students do not want their images to appear or you can't see their faces, it's just the back of their heads, it is not, I don't believe it's a requirement. So really just for students who we can see their faces.
Great. Thank you so much for those clarifications. Thank you for the questions. Very good questions. I hope the answers are helpful for you and for others who are joining live and also will be watching this later. Is there anybody else? Does anybody else have a question at this point? Our independence report from one individual instead of a group project allowed? Yes. We always encourage Globe students to work together. But yes, I mean, if you are a Globe student, I mean, working with your Globe teacher, that's also fine. Yeah. Well, if there are no other questions, Alison and I are getting really excited as we start to see the projects coming in. Every day we get these throughout the day, actually, we get the notifications that another project's been submitted. We can't wait to start getting in, sharing these with the judges, collating feedback, getting you that feedback. It's a really exciting process for us. We love seeing what students are capable with, and honestly, we're always blown away by it. All your projects usually so far surpass our expectations, and we learn from it. So love that. We're really looking forward as well this year to trying to find new ways of making sure that these projects, all your hard work is also being shared with the other Globe teachers and schools in your region. So through your regional coordinating offices or through the US country coordinator office in the US. And we're really excited. So please, any questions, feel free to just email us, globeivss@ucar.edu. We'll come straight to Alison and me. We'll get straight back to you. And thank you very much for joining us today. And really excited about seeing your work. Alison, any last words from you?
Nope, just to echo Simon, thank you for all of the teachers that are here today. Thank you for supporting and inspiring your students. And if any students are here, thank you for engaging in research. We are very excited.
I see one last question there, which is, may homeschool educators and students participate? Absolutely. The key qualification really is that you're a Globe teacher, is that you are a Globe teacher and that you as a teacher are involved in doing this with your students, and it's the teacher who uploads. That's the way to enter the submission portal. So if you are a Globe teacher, absolutely. Homeschooled students are also very welcome to participate. 6 So if there's nothing else, thank you very much for joining us today live. Thank you also those of you who have been watching this later on through on the Globe YouTube channel. Thank you, Alison, for preparing the slides and taking us through it today. And we look forward to your projects. Bye-bye.
Thank you.